Yo, what's up? It's DJ Kash, the Fly Haitian Kid. Of course, it's the DJ Kash podcast here at Apartment 4B in Atlanta. And this episode is brought to us, or you guys, by US1 Package Store. That's US1 Package Store in Decatur. So if you're ever in the Decatur area right here in Atlanta, make sure you stop at US1 Package Store for all your drinking needs. You know what I'm saying? And if you go there, you never know who you'll see because a whole heap of artists go there, a whole heap of rappers go there. So you might want to be there, all right? US1 Package Store in Decatur. Make sure you check them out. Big shout out to Yellow, too, for sponsoring this episode. But now I got the big man, the one of the biggest artists of his time, Red Rat, in the building. Red Rat, what's good?
Sac passe, my brother.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to put you on to some Haitian food, too.
Let's go.
I'm going to put you on, man. But it's good to have you on the podcast, man.
It's always a pleasure, my brother.
Just like you're another one of the guys I speak to that we always have great conversations. We always, like, you always give me great insight. It's always good energy. So I was like, before anybody else, as soon as your schedule opened up, I had to have you on the podcast.
Absolutely,
so I'm excited.
Man. Once you call, we are there, my brother.
And that's another thing I want to thank you for, because every single time I call you, you there.
Nah, man, you family. So it's like when family calls, you have to move.
Right, man. So, man, I appreciate you once again, man. So, I always like to start from the beginning, man. I want to hear about how you got into music. Well, I already know that you come from a musical family.
Yeah. So a lot of my musical influences started from at a very early age.
Right.
My father used to play guitar for Barnley and the Dragonaires.
Nice.
So all soca fans out there, if you remember the album Softly, my father was the producer of that album.
Nice.
So I born hearing soca music, going to carnivals when I was in, diapers.
Right.
So I grew up on that aspect, and then because everybody knows who my father is, that's how I got introduced to like the Brownie family and Steely and Clevie and all those people. But my also have a brother who plays bass for Jimmy Cliff and Diana King.
Right.
So when Diana King before she became Diana King, it was City Heat Band. City Heat is a band that played on the North Coast and all of the hotels. When you go to Jamaica and there's a band playing in the hotel, that was what Diana King and them used to do, and my brothers.
Gotcha.
And I used to go there with them, and I also have a brother that plays drums. He used to play for Bounty Killer and Beanie Man and myself as well. So I grew up seeing them and wanting to be in the industry, and I would say at about age 4 or 5, I was at the hotel one time and Diana King and them City Heat Band playing, and they called me on the stage. And I walk on the stage and I start singing a Michael Jackson record. ABC, it's easy as one. And the place went crazy, and from that bug has been in me since I was a kid. So, I'm definitely going to be something in music.
Right. So what age were you when you was like, all right, when you went into the studio and like started recording?
So I grew up in the countryside of Jamaica. So there wasn't like studios in Jamaica like that. In Ocho Rios, because I grew up in Ocho Rios. And I moved from Ocho Rios to Kingston when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I started to go into Meadowbrook Prep School. Big up Meadowbrook Prep and all Meadowbrook family. Big up on yourself. And being that we are from a musical family, we got linked up, me and my brother got linked up with one of the Brownie, Glenn Brownie's sons, which is Shams, the producer now.
Wow.
And the guitarist for Shaggy now.
Wow.
They're twins. Okay. So we formed a group, and we used to perform at all the barbecues and the fetes, all the school barbecues and fetes. So being that they're Brownies, which is Steely and Clevie who created dancehall music, Danny Brownie, Dalton Brownie, all of them, they were the one that had the access to studios. So whenever whoever is working in the studio, I used to go with them and, kind of get the studio vibe. My first studio experience was seeing General Degree Voice, Granny.
Stop
hollering out my name. Granny, you call. Yeah,
it
actually was in a small, it was a washroom. They changed a washroom, a small washroom into a studio. So it was the only two people could fit in the studio at the time.
Wow.
So I was sitting outside of the door watching them. It was 16 reel before Pro Tools and all of that. It was 16 tracks, and the rhythm and the artist had to be on that thing. And it was amazing to me to see how music was created. And Degree was always like a very good friend of mine. And seeing him recording his song and it became a hit, I was like, yo, I have to start doing that, because I used to go to barbecues and as a little red youth and mash up the place regardless of which artist on the bill. I've been on shows with Wayne Wonder. He was a big artist and me, performing and getting my forward as well. But I wanted to transcend from being a performing artist and mashing up stage shows to having a record.
Right.
So I started to go around, Main Street, and one day, I said to the owner, the label, like, yo, you know me as a family, but I could DJ, I want to start record music, and him laugh off at me. He did. Him laugh at me and said, no, man, come on, boy, you don't know nothing about music or whatever. And one day him give me the chance and say, all right, yeah, give you a chance, come into the studio. But I seen how them deal with people when them give it a chance. Because if you get that one chance and you blew it, you can't come back into the studio again.
But wait, how old were you when you went to him and said you wanted that
My
chance?
first song I recorded when I was probably 10 years old.
Gee.
A kid, I was a kid.
Wow.
And him give me the chance, and I did pretty good as a young artist. My first song was called Itsy Bitsy.
Right.
And funny enough, Beanie Man did end up doing a Itsy Bitsy. And I'm not saying he stole it, but I'm saying they stole it.
Right. So I like, okay, speaking of Wayne, you just mentioned Wayne.
Yeah.
He was telling me how like practically all of his songs were either personal experiences or things that he've actually seen and witnessed and been a part of. So that's how he got the lyrics, that's how he got the situations, the everything.
Yeah.
So I hear that the way you came about with your songs was the same.
Yeah, 90% of my songs, I won't say 100 because if it's not my experience, it's somebody else's experience. But most of my records is like, for instance, Shelly Ann.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school with Shelly Ann.
So
that girl, Shelly Ann, she go on like Shania
really
have one
real...
bag. It's the head girl of the school. It's somebody that we went to school with. And Charlene went to the same school as me. Charlene, have pretty car.
Right.
Yeah, we went to the same school. Dwayne, we went to the same school. So most of those early records, when I was calling the people name, is people that I know.
That is crazy. So I hear the story goes, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard the story goes, Shelly Ann was maybe a girl you was interested in? And
No.
then Dwayne,
No. Let's stop that right now.
How it work?
I see some vloggers talking all type of crap about me and Shelly. We was never together.
Okay.
So being that I was the most popular entertainer in my school, because whenever they would keep any fetes or barbecues, I would be the one that would bring the artist, because me and Degree are friends, and I've been in the Main Street circle from Papa San to Stitchy, and when Main Street had Papa San, Stitchy, Junior Tucker, Lady G, Richie Stevens, Degree, Buccaneer, that was the early part of Main Street crew. Right. So whenever we had anything at the school, I would ask any one of them to come, and they would come because we are the fans and they love performing for school kids. So being that I was that person, whenever they have this thing, I don't know if you would have it at your school, is they have the school pageant. So my school is called Meadowbrook, so they had a thing called Miss Meadowbrook. So Shelly Ann entered the pageant, and with some pageants you have a talent. Mm-hmm. So her talent was she's doing a skit, and she's to write a skit about her being the head girl at the school and how the teachers love her, and whenever the principal see her, he would say to her, "You see that girl, Shelly Ann? She's all that." So we started to mimic her and mock her every day, be like, "Hey, you see that girl, Shelly Ann? That girl?" And one day I was doing a record at the studio with Danny Browning, and back then I wanted to sound like Buju Banton. So I put on a Buju voice and yo, you don't know Red Rat and it wasn't work. Like, cause I was putting on a voice. So
Because you was how old when
I was a kid, man. I was a teenager.
Exactly.
I was a kid, and he was like, yo, it don't sound real. Why don't you stop putting on a voice and just do your authentic you? And when he said that to me, the idea came into my head. I was parring with Madandra at the time, because me and Madandra is very close, and he's very intricate part. He plays a very intricate part in my career, because he was the writer basically for Main Street. So he write for Lady, all of us in Main Street. Madandra have a hand in it writing. So him said to me, say, yo, you see that thing that we're always, jeering the girl with? Why don't we write a song about that girl, Shelly Ann? And when he said it to me, Danny heard and said, yeah, man, let me hear that. So we went home and we penned the work and we come back and said, Danny, this is what we have. And I sing it for him, and the man say, yo, your boss, find a house on the hill, get your chain size, you're rich now. And so said, so done. Music is so funny, Kash, because after I recorded that record, I had nowhere to live in Jamaica, so I left Jamaica, street side of my base, big up everybody. So when I left Jamaica, now I went to the Cayman Islands, because my father used to live in the Cayman Islands, and I started working in a supermarket. And on this program, I have to big up Mr. G. Mr. G is the reason why I boss today. So, the rhythm
the DJ.
No, Mr. G, the Goofy.
Oh, Goofy.
Goofy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Got you.
So, on that rhythm, it was only young artists. It was Goofy with Fudgy, me with Shelly Ann, Madanjo, and Hawkeye on the rhythm. None of the big artists wanted the voice on the rhythm, because it was too different, I think, at the time. So it wasn't a hardcore rhythm. Goofy went into the studio and stole his song from the DAT and put it on a CD, and drove to jump on a bus to Ocho Rios and at IRFM and give Big A the song. And Big A played the song, and within that weekend, that song was the biggest song in the world.
Crazy.
And then what he did now, he came back to the studio and compiled all the rest of songs them, because he didn't want his song alone to be played. He wanted, at that time, was a juggling thing. Right. So you want all the songs and the juggling to be played. And him carry my song, and if it wasn't for the fact that Goofy carried the song and Big A played it, nobody would know who Red White was. And the funniest thing is, the song played that Friday, and by Monday morning, it was the biggest song on planet Earth. I not talk just Jamaica alone. I talk UK, New York, Miami, everywhere talking about Shelly Ann. And I didn't know. I was working in the supermarket in the Cayman Islands. So I get a phone call from Degree and say, yo, DJ, you know, come back to Jamaica. I said, for what? I come back to Jamaica for? I ain't got nowhere to live, and I have a little work here, and I try make some myself. And him said, Bridging, your song is the biggest song in the country right now. You need to come back to Jamaica.
That's insane.
And I was like, what?
But wait, so how did you even get to the point where you didn't have nowhere else to go in Jamaica?
So my mother left me when I was 10 years old. And then my father left when I was 12 and went to the Cayman Islands. So I was living with friends, and, the Brownie families was really who took me in, and how I get to go to school and get lunch money and them something. I used to work on the bus. So I was a conductor when I finished school and all of that. It came a point where your time expired. You can't stay at this person no more. You can't stay at that person no more. So I had to leave and go to my father.
So when Shelly Ann bust, how old are you when Shelly Ann
I was
bust?
a teenager. I was still in school. I was a teenager.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So you leave the Cayman, obviously, and you go.
I fly back the next day. If you speak to Degree always say, I don't know how Rat end up back in Jamaica the next day. I book a ticket that same day because I was working. I booked the ticket, right back at Jamaica. And the rest is history. I did Dwayne, I did Tight Up Skirt, I did Big Man Liquor You. It was a whirlwind after that.
And you were part, bro, I remember them times, I think that's when I first started being a selector and wanted to build my sound.
Yeah.
I remember getting that vinyl with that Main Street written on it, and it was like, yo, wow, like you know what I mean?
Man.
It was like it was.
We set a standard in dancehall definitely in the 90s because our crew was the I would call us the pop dancehall of the dancehall genre.
Because
We was pop
every
music.
single one of y'all was stars.
Yeah, and
Every
that's
single
what
one.
made us different. You would see a flyer with Beanie Man and Shocking Vibes crew, Bounty Killer, Scare Them crew, Red Rat, Degree, Buccaneer. It's the crew, but everybody was a star within them own right and had their own catalog of music.
Right.
So it was a great time and it was a family thing because, you know, at them time when you're in the studio, if you voice a song and you finish and I'm right in mind, you come in to make sure the song is perfect. If a line need to change, you throw it and say, yo, change this line. It was a family thing where everybody wanted to see everybody win. And you could hear it in the production of the songs. Like Filthy Rhythm, every song on the rhythm was was a hit song.
To this day.
Yeah, like
To this
all
day.
of those records that was put out in Main Street time, every song was a hit on those rhythms.
Like I remember going to the record shop, and you know them times the pre-release would come in 45s. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you couldn't buy like the whole compilation. You couldn't buy like the whole rhythm on a compilation or something. You
Yeah.
had to buy the 45.
Each 45, yeah. Some of them was even white label. You would get the
Exactly.
pre-release
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
From I knew it was you, Goofy, Lady G. I would just be like, give it to me. You
Yeah.
don't even got to play it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. That's
I-
true.
They wouldn't even have to play it. So like, with y'all being so big, and when Wayne Wonder was here, he was saying how when he first met Sham, Sham would try to sound like you.
Yeah.
And it made me realize like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I've been in the game. I've been in the game a long time.
I forgot like yo, you
all
were
right.
out before Sham.
Remember, you know, when me and Goofy boss, it was in the heart of Bounty Killer and Beanie Man war, you know. Like there was no other artist but Bounty and Beanie, and when we come now, we changed the whole energy and the whole vibe. And I was one of the top artists at that time before Sham boss, before a lot of artists boss. So I've been doing this for a long time, but I was a kid, so don't use the time frame to judge my age. You know what I mean?
Which is crazy. Like this is how you've been doing it a long time, because I know, because I was young. I started selecting at 15, you know what I mean? And then when I heard your song, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I remember buying the vinyl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but one thing that a lot of people don't talk about, a lot of people probably don't even know, is that, like, when they talk about dancehall and they talk about pioneers and they talk about trendsetters and record breakers,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know, like, your first album had, like, what, 15
Yeah,
songs?
15 songs and
like 13 of them was like
number one
ones.
records. Yes.
That's like insane. I don't
Yes.
know if anybody in dancehall has ever done that
Yeah,
to this
man.
day.
And a lot of artists would say too, when I got the break, if internet was around when I got the break, I would be as big as Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber. Facts.
Right? Yo, bro, I couldn't. But when I first like started looking at the number one, I'm like, all right, if it was a number one here, it was number one.
Somewhere else in the world.
Crazy.
13 of those songs, if it wasn't a number one in Jamaica, number one in Africa, number one in Costa Rica, number one places. You know what I mean? I have number one songs in places that it has never played, not even one time in Jamaica. And I'm a dancehall artist.
Wait, number one's from that album or in general?
In general, like
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
I have songs like, you know, Rise Up Zimbabwe is a huge record in Zimbabwe, but it never played one time in Jamaica. The song that we just did, 20, probably 27 million streams by now, higher, never played one time in Jamaica.
Wow.
So I've learned that, you know, good music don't have one specific era. If it's good music and you promote it and people like it, whoever accept it. That's why I don't run down the hype or run down, you know, this Aguana Jamaica, so you have to do this. Or, you know, I don't do that.
Right.
I kind of set myself in a way. I know who I am. I know what my standard is for me as an artist, and I just stick to Red Rat because there's only one Red Rat.
Because I mean, no disrespect to no one at all, and
Yeah.
and this is not geared to anybody, but artists now make music very differently than artists in your time did. Like when you first got in the game.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say your time, like, because your time's not done. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
But when you first got in the game, like, the creative process was very, very, the intention
Yes.
going into the creative process was very different. Like,
Yeah, because everybody had a role to play. I was the artist. I come and I write the songs, and I'm coming to you as the producer. As a producer, you know what the song should sound like. You know how you created the beat, and you know how to, because there's a formula. A lot of artists don't know that there's a formula to creating a hit song. These artists don't know that because they're producing themselves. We allow the producers to tell us what to do. These artists is telling the producer what them want hear and how it for sound.
right.
So the creative process is all out of whack, and that's why all of the song them sound the same way, as opposed to when we was doing it. Even though you have 10 songs on one rhythm, all 10 songs sounds different. So is that's, to me, that's what's lacking with the youth them, because a lot of them very creative and writing. Some of them on them penmanship is excellent, but they're not getting production. They just, a man send them a rhythm and you voice wherever you feel, and instead of a producer, because for me there was like in Shelly Ann, there was one line throughout the whole song. After I finished recording it, they call me back to just change that one line. You can't call an artist now and say, dog, you know, me never like that one line there, you can't, I'm not going to change it.
Because not only that, he's going to look at you different, and now you're going to fire you.
You can't voice him again because you feel like you violate and you disrespect the man. No, this production. We want the best out of it. Me want the best out of it. You should want the best out of it. And if one line is going to mess up the song, then change the one line. But too much ego in the game now.
But another thing I don't think you get enough credit for is your stage performance. Bro, I think you are probably one of the definitely top 5 or top 3 performers I've ever seen in my life. Very entertaining. Like, you watching it's to the point where if you don't even, let's say for whatever reason somebody doesn't know your music, they will be very entertained watching that.
No, but I've witnessed that before. A lot. I've been places where people don't know who me is, and at the end of the day, they're like, yo, I don't know you, but I enjoyed your show so much, I'm gonna start listening to your music. But I take pride in performing. Like, it don't matter if it's 10 people or it's 10,000 people, I take pride in performing. And up to this day, I still rehearse before I go on a stage.
That is crazy, because I see we had, here in Atlanta, we do, I do a small little intimate dinner and a vibe type of thing, and you came through and smashed it.
Yes.
Like, and the people there were like, oh my God, like they couldn't, they were like in awe, like they couldn't even believe it. Like, and I think that was my first time seeing you live too. So it was insane, because nowadays with artists, you don't see that at all.
Yes.
At all. Like, the creativeness and just, it was just very dope. Very dope.
It's crazy because a lot of artists perform to get a forward. If you watch my performances, if I'm performing and a band pull up, I get very upset because I'm not performing to get a pull up. If it so happens that the crowd screams so loud that a man get excited and pull up, because it happened many times with Rough Cut. The place a bus and them know I don't like pull up, but staff so excited and pull up same way. But yeah, man, for me, I'm singing the songs and people come to hear it. The same energy them have when them put on them headphones, and them go and make noise, but they're not pulling up the song unless it makes sense to pull up. So I put that energy into my performances all the time.
And another thing I find interesting about you is that, like, even till now, talking about, like, we were just talking about going number ones and records doing well. Even now, you got records going crazy that most people probably, because you bounce around in genres so much that if you're not paying attention to that genre, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Yeah. And I don't limit myself to just dancehall music. From ever since, I've always listened, like in my CD collection, I have Korn, I listen to, Garbage, I listen to all type of different genres of music. So my music brain don't just stuck to dancehall. That's where I could fit in, in the Spanish market. I've been in the Spanish market for a while now, and even though Spanish reggaeton is really dancehall, but you still have to know how to fit in and what the type of words to say and how to make the both language come together.
Right. How were you received? 'Cause I remember when I was younger, like
Yeah.
we used to be vexed at reggaeton because the youths that used to like it used to say it's not reggae or it's not dancehall.
Yeah.
So we used to be vexed about that because like, yo, bro, the name of it is
reggaeton.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So how you gonna say that? But now things are very, very different. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So how are you received in that world? Because you had a #1 in that world.
I've always have records in the Spanish market, many records. I work with Pitbull from before Pitbull was Pitbull.
Crazy.
But the thing is that maybe you don't even know, a lot of people don't know, they respect and worship us because we are what they look at to create what they have now. So when myself step into the arena and they know, yo, Red Rat is doing a song with it, it's amazing to them. It's like, oh my God, how did he get Red Rat or certain artists? That's why you would say, a Wayne Wonder or a Charlie Black or, authentic dancehall music will always work in the Spanish market.
Right. So well, as y'all can see, Apartment 4B is popping. They calling
Yeah,
for
man, the fans
reservations.
are calling. The fans say, I want to ask him a question.
So you ever come to Atlanta, come to Apartment 4B because you can hear the reservations is booming. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But what else do you think? Why else do you think, like, the '90s era of music of dancehall just will not die? Like you could. All right, you could, like, for instance, like you could have a show, and me as a DJ and as a promoter or whatever, I could do a show, and it could be 50-50. If I have a '90s show, a '90s, it's like guaranteed sellout.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And it may seem like what I'm about to say that is not just that, but the camaraderie that we had back in the day, where like every day you would see myself, Buccaneer, and Goofy go check Bounty Killer and Ghost and Rounded, and all of us would be down by the car wash every day, reasoning as brethren.
Wow.
And then a man would get a call and say, yo, so Steely have a rhythm, and everybody would leave there and go up to Steely and Clevie. And you buck up on a Lexus and, different. So everybody was friends and comrades. Even though you not be friend with somebody, you still show them certain respect. Right. And then also, you as a promoter going call and say, yo, I want you on the show. And I would say, who is this on the show? And you said, this man and that man is on the show. Yeah, man, of course. Boom. Now, you call a man and say, if you're going to book me, don't book that man on the show and don't book that man. So you've seen with these new artists, back in our days, you would say all of us on a flyer. You're not going to see Alkaline and Popcorn on a bill. And they are, I'm just calling names, not saying, but you're not going to see Popcorn and Alkaline on a bill, and they are the two popping names in dancehall. So that don't make no sense. You're killing the genre. You can't say, all of them names that's, fighting each other. It killing the vibe of the industry, because, yeah, I might be an Alkaline fan, and I go to watch Alkaline, and then a Popcorn would come on, and I don't even remember. Say, yo, so I love that song, The Family, and I'm going to sing the song Family, because we're everybody that follow dancehall listen to everybody, but we, the artists, feel like we should segregate it, and not realizing that the fans, them still going to listen. Alkaline fans listen Popcorn regardless of how anybody think.
Right.
They are going to listen. So.
Right.
It's just the segregation that's going on is what messing up. And it's simple, Right. It's simple. Take your ego and push your ego aside, B. You know what I mean? We all the music bigger than all of we. We come see the music, and we are got dead left it. So nobody feel like the music's around you. And
do you think maybe that's why too? All right, because like a lot of times, it would be a better experience that you team up with other artists because y'all were on the same rhythm.
Absolutely.
And it made me like, yo, I can call this artist to come in, let me DJ this part, and you DJ this part.
Yeah.
And Ray. But now it's like rhythms aren't there like they used to be.
Yeah, and I mean, in some sense, I used to say I blame our generation that didn't, train the youths or bring them in and say, this is what you need to be done. Because right now, like, the drop top rhythm that I produced, me and Pascali produced, I reached out to some of the young artists them and say, yo, I think this rhythm would fit you. And them tell me, say them doing the juggling. And I don't think them understand the power of what juggling did. You know, is basically they're doing the same thing, but everybody's doing it separately because all of the rhythm them sound the same way. Anyway, it's the same vibe, it's the same sound, but because it's not promoted in one compilation where a DJ could keep the vibe and the music going, you know what I mean, it just not working. And I mean, maybe it going to work.
You think it'll ever come back? Juggling?
It should be. I mean, I blame the producers that used to do it, that why them stop. A Shams and a Dave Kelly and a Tony Kelly, and why did y'all stop? It shouldn't stop because something new started. It should continue. I still do it because I still believe it going to come back, because you as a DJ always say, yo, I love when you get a juggling. Mm-hmm. So if the DJs are still requesting it and still wanting it to do, why stop doing it?
The one thing I loved about dancehall and why I started getting into dancehall was the juggling.
Yes.
And to see, it was like I wanted to see what artists did, how they approached the rhythm.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even though it was like, in the 90s, it was like kind of like, well, rhythms in general, everybody's on the same rhythm, but it sounds, to me, it was just, the approach was so different that it sounds like it can be its own song. Like,
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
And it shows you the creativity of the artist them too. Right. Where if I go to a producer and me hear say 5-man voice already, I want to hear what them voice on the rhythm. Now you can't even do that. Nobody, the man no want nobody hear him song. Cool. But then when you hear it, you then put yourself in a perspective. Say, all right, I'm going to have to find something totally different than what these people are singing. So if Spragga do a girl song and Bunty do a bad man song, I can't do a girl song or a bad man song. I have to think of what would I want to hear when I'm in the dance while this rhythm playing. All right, them drop the bad man song, you got hear gunshot. And Spragga song come on, the girl them go scream. Well, me I go do a drinking song, you know what I mean?
Right,
a toasting song, and put up your glass up, because you have to think about the selector and what him going to say before him play your song. It's like a whole heap of things you have to think about in that creative process. Well, that's how I do it. I don't know anybody else do it. But, you know, you have to think outside of your world and believing that you're the star, and wherever me put out, that's what's going to happen.
I remember the last rhythm you sent me, the quarantine rhythm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want us to talk about that, because it's like when you sent that to me, I was like, yo, it's a rhythm.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was happy, like, all right, somebody sent me a rhythm.
Yeah.
And when you linked me, it was like, yo, Kash, wait till you hit, just listen to it and then give me a call or whatever. And it's a dope rhythm, and you did it with your now artist.
Yes.
Pasquale,
so
right?
so she's a artist. So her name is Pasquale, and we're business partners. The both of us run the label. When I link up with her, it was in a time when everything was going down. Main Street just mash up. My management that I had, we parted ways, and my father just dead. So I was on a downward spiral. I was being bad. I had like multiple women. I was drinking and smoking every day, reckless.
Typical rock star life. Typical life of a Caribbean man. What's new?
So when I link up with her, she changed my mindset, because I was in a no care attitude, and it was not leading me in a good place. And you know, I was even in a position where I was gonna give up on music. Because at that time, you know, when the gully Gaza, you have to choose a side, and I don't feel like I should choose a side, because me name Red Rat, and none of them artists are not big like Red Rat anywhere in the world, so why should I even choose a side? And the politics started to play, and man used to pay man for not playing, you know, if you're not a part of, you know, whichever organization, them not gonna play you. And I wasn't about to play that politics, so I took on myself from Jamaica and had a different vision of who I am as an artist and where I want to be. And it did get rough at a point where I never believed that, you know, I'm capable of doing it. And when we link up with her, she said, listen, let's, you know, create a label and we both do it together. She plays keyboards, so a lot of the quarantine rhythm actually came from her idea with the phrase. She started humming the phrase in her head, and I was like, yo, that bad, you know, just go put that down, and the phrase started, and I made the drum beat around it, and that's how that came about, because of, you know, pandemic came into play, and no music, you don't know what you're going to do, and we just say, you know what, let's just put out this music and give people some nice music for dance to in a them house regardless. And then when the rhythm done, and I was the first artist voice on it, she had her set of artists that she wanted to voice and wanted to reach out to. So we reached out to Tifa. Tifa said, of course. I reached out to Basie from TOK, and he had an idea of wanting to do a combination with a female, so it was perfect that him and Tifa did the combination. Ding Dang was like, yo, of course, and it happened that the song that Ding Dang wanted to put on the rhythm, he wanted a female artist. So it's like, yo, which artist we are going, and we try all different type of name. Every female that you know in the dancehall industry, him said, no, I'm not wanting it to that person, or no, I'm not doing it to that person. So she said, let me try it. And see him say, all right, cool, try it. And she tried it and she killed it. And it's 6 songs. We had 2 new artists on the rhythm, because every time we're putting out a rhythm, we want to give new artists opportunity, because I'm an artist or a producer like this. I don't fight talent. If I see talent, we highlight talent. So, you know, it was a great experience, and, you know, for what it was, and how we, you know, shot the video when everybody was in quarantine, it was amazing. So big up Mogul Beats anywhere in there, big up Pascali, enough love, always.
It's crazy to hear you say that, because like I would have never thought that you were in a, you know, situation feeling like you wanted to quit.
Yeah,
every
man.
time I speak to you about music, you're very upbeat
Yeah,
about
man.
it. You're very,
I mean, I love what I do, and I love the craft, but the industry can push you to do stupid shit, or, you know, I don't know if, sorry, I don't mean
It's
to
all
cuss,
good.
but yeah,
it's a Caribbean podcast.
okay, good. It pushes you to do stupid shit, or make you feel like, you know, what you're doing is garbage. And I know that I'm a great artist, and I put out good music, and it hurt to know that, you know, you spend so much hours in the studio to create this product, and then I give it to a DJ and he doesn't play it. You know, and most of the DJs that I would give it to is friends of mine that I think, I mean, why wouldn't you put the same energy on your friend stuff that you would put on somebody you don't know, somebody where I know you're bridging, you know? So it's like those things would play into my mind and be like, yo, you know what? Fuck everybody and just do something else. But every time I do that, you know, I'd run into a fan and be like, yo, I can't wait to see you perform again, or when are you putting out new music? So it's like a lot of things like that is what keep me grounded and keep me into the industry, to be like, you know what? I'm not doing music for the people them in the industry. Me I do music for my fans. So once we start doing that, and I know like, yo, I don't care if it play in Jamaica. If it play in Jamaica, I am grateful, because you always want, you know, your music to be playing in your home ground. But if them don't play it, no problem. It go and play somewhere else in the world.
But I think everybody goes through that. Like, I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I didn't get really popping in DJing until I left Brooklyn.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's
And
always like that. Like,
music always prove that, you know, a king never get crowned in their own country. From Bob Marley come straight down to all the way.
I think it's not just with music. It's with everything.
Everything.
I think. Like,
that's true.
You know, everybody, the people closest to you, is hard for them to see it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's.
And sometimes them see it too, and them don't give you that opportunity, because the biggest disease in the Caribbean is bad mind. And people, they're haters. They'll try anything to pull you back, crab in a barrel syndrome. So,
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't even think if you really wanted to quit, if you tried, I don't even think people would allow you to, bro. Because that genre, those songs would last forever.
Yes,
you know
classics
what I'm saying?
never
And
die.
what did I tell you before we sat down? I said, bro, you made songs that are gonna be played literally forever, bro.
Yes.
Forever. So. You know what I mean? I thank you for coming through, bro.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. You my bro. Every time I call, I told Wayne this too. 'Cause you and Wayne and DeMarco and Tifa, y'all are like some real ones. And every time I call, y'all pull up. So I appreciate you, man.
You're good people, man.
Nah, thank you, bro.
Always you respect. What I respect with you most is that you respect our industry. You respect the artists, them. You respect the craft. You respect dancehall. So we are gonna always show you that respect.
Nah, love, man. I appreciate it, man. I grew up on sound system culture. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, man.
just like I'm no exception to everybody else. Like Jamaican culture has inspired me in every facet of my music life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
bro.
I gotta big it up. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you
Always,
for coming
brother.
through. Man, I can't wait till the next rhythm drops. You know what I'm saying? We're never gonna let you retire ever.
Yeah, man. I have a new song out. Just look out for it. It's called Alias Name, produced by Cassette Jones, the Giggy. Remember the Giggy rhythm?
Yeah.
Them just dropped the Giggy rhythm. Wayne on the Giggy rhythm, Sprague on it.
Nice.
So look out for that. I already sent it to your email. So
Nice.
yeah, man. Alias Name, Red Rat,
Dope,
on all
man.
platforms. Right
DJ
now.
Kash Podcast, we out.